Hey, what's up? How y'all doing today? Child, ain't nothing like spilling some shit on the floor right before you supposed to go live. Oh my God. Shit, I had to run upstairs and all that good stuff. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing all right? Y'all good out there? Shout out to all two of you. Hey, Dr. Steele. How you doing? Okay, shout out to all three of y'all out there. Um, so first I do want to take a moment um to wish my husband a very, very, very happy anniversary. Y'all, we are on Sunday, it'll be 4 years for us. So a huge shout out to us, but just a big, big, big shout out to him, babe. I love you. So thankful for you. And cheers to many more. Um, I ain't gonna front y'all. This shit has been lit. It's been lit. I think every couple goes through whatever they go through, but I would say shit, me and Curlin been together 6 years total, and I've never broken up with him. Y'all know I'm a track star, honey. And the fact that me and Curlin have been together for 6 years, no breakups, marriage has been, I would almost say, seamless. I think every couple goes through their ups, downs, whatever, but I will say that we haven't had many downs, and I wouldn't even quantify the things that we've gone through as downs. I think you go through learning lessons, and I'm forever grateful. I'm a happy girl. I'm a happy girl. So, babe, shout out to you. Um, so I'm sure you guys have been seeing Deontay Cal go viral, all that good stuff. And with Deontay Cal going viral and his comments about black men and all this good stuff, and the free Meg, free Tory BS that's been going on. Um, I'm like, let me do a reaction stream to it. I don't think that I've ever done many reaction streams to it. Y'all know I'll never have nothing prepared. Um so let me get it pulled up and then let's react. I think it'll be something pretty interesting. I watched a little bit of the clips and yeah, I was like, this will be something good that I can react to. So yeah, let me get it pulled up. Grits and Eggs podcast. Have many of you caught it? Have any of you seen the podcast that I'm referring to? It's talking about free Meg, free Tory, free Meg, or Lord, free Tory, free Diddy. Lord have mercy. Y'all know I will butcher some shit up in a minute. So I got it pulled up. And yeah, let's get some reaction in. It's probably be the only time I go live today or whatever. Thank you so much, Gail. Doug, it ain't never gonna be right if if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, it ain't never gonna be right, child. Y'all gotta the best art comes from the fuck ups, the learning shit. The journey is about as much as it is getting there. That's the shit I be telling myself when I be fucking up. I be like, oh, it's all about the journey. So, oh, thank you, Mr. Curlin. Ooh la la. Okay. Um, so y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all got y'all's popcorn. Y'all had y'all get you a little drink. I know y'all ain't doing no work today, so y'all can listen. I'm gonna take y'all throughout the workday. I'm gonna finish the workday up with y'all, and so get you a little some chill out, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Bam, share, and let's get it. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear it, okay? Here we go.
Yeah. Woke up in the morning.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward that a little bit because y'all know people will copyright the shit out of your shit.
Okay. Got a couple of those today.
Ooh.
Advice submissions and things like that. Music submissions.
Ooh.
For that New Music Monday going up.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna fast forward a little bit past there too because we don't care.
Deontay.Kyle on Instagram.
And we still don't care.
Well, like I said that the other day, like who knows about his page? And
wait. Everybody go and subscribe to the Grits and Eggs podcast. Go subscribe. I think I don't know what the perception is going to be on here. I did listen to some of it, so I do have some thoughts on the things that they're talking about, but don't copyright me, bro. Let me react in peace. And y'all send me a couple dollars. I got something special coming up for y'all. Send me a couple dollars. Okay.
It was like, no, please don't go. We need you here. I'm like, shit.
The people champion.
Yeah, the people's champ.
They need you.
They need me over there. But I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it's not a lot of like positive discourse over there.
Right.
It's all like, it is what it is. 657 234 eggs. That's 657 234 3447. For you call in submissions, we got a few of those today.
Ow.
United We Heal.
And we're going to speed it up a little bit because get to the freaking point, bro.
Mike down there.
But get that shit right.
They was not fucking with this. No, I was like, man, I'm sorry, guys. Guys, I'm sorry.
You know what goes.
I'm doing my best, but we got to stay on schedule.
Right.
Pod comes first.
Pod comes first.
So a couple of odd things, just to kind of ease our way into this thing. So you know about the tornado that happened in St. Louis and in Kentucky. And that they had no warning. Stuff with DDG, but because if you on Twitter, like you really literally can't get away from him and Hallie's relationship. It's like odd. Like, why the fuck do I care about default relationship?
People ain't got nothing better to do now,
bruh. So it's so
yeah. Just a quick observation. Y'all notice that they keep the camera on the yellow, the light skin, the light skin dude. I just thought that was interesting. Okay,
that's what he is.
Real parasite. Yeah. We'll talk briefly about this stuff with DDG, but because if you on Twitter, like you really literally can't get away from him and Hallie's relationship. It's like odd. Like, why the fuck do I care about default relationship?
People ain't got nothing better to do now,
bruh. So it's so crazy though. Like, okay, so just speaking objectively, like this is like really just some baby mama drama. Like
that's all it is.
You know what I'm saying? It just broadcasted to the nation,
right?
And this nigga is on stream like all the time.
Okay, just to dive off into it, because I'm gonna start from where they starting from. What do y'all think about the DDG Hallie situation? I've been watching it, and so I think that a lot of people have wanted to make DDG to be this bum ass, broke ass streamer dude who doesn't make any money, who's trying to ruin Hallie's reputation, and he ain't never gonna be shit, and this, that, and the third. And Hallie is being prompted as this real life Disney princess. She can't do any wrong. She's so sweet. She's so innocent. She wouldn't hurt a fly. And then you got the baby and everything, and the baby be having a side eye on DDG and stuff. And what I've concluded myself is that Hallie isn't that bad, and Halle isn't that good and DDG ain't that bad. And I think there's somewhere that they can actually meet in the middle. The people who DDG is associated with is what I always be looking at, because I think DDG was talking about Free Tory, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So, like, when I be looking at Jay-Z and Rock Nation and knowing that Halle is associated with them folks, just like Meg is, I'll be honest with y'all. I always kind of look at it and be like, they have ways to ruin people's reputation. Like, they will ruin the shit out of a person's reputation and drive that shit home. But it's like a long game or whatever. And so I always be looking at that and I'd be like, I don't know. But like I said, I don't think either one of them is as bad or as good as the media is making them out to be. Do I think DDG is probably a little bit toxic and throwing the girl phone away and telling her she shouldn't be with this dude or she fucking around with this dude? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that when a guy kind of holds you up as this good girl, they want you to behave in that manner. So if you done had my baby, you ain't finna be out in these streets acting like a hoe. And Halle is like, I had your baby, but nigga, I could do whatever I want to. I'm not, you know, that's my thought process of it. And so I'm like, they said he tossed her phone and threw it out the window and called her. I absolutely believe it. I absolutely believe that. But do I think he actually put hands on her, like slaps her up? It's definitely possible. You can't really put anything past anybody. But it's like, if you have one toxic behavior, people like to relegate that to your whole being. Now, have I been grabbed up by a motherfucker before? Yes. Did this same motherfucker put hands on me? No. Have I slapped me up a nigga before? Yes. Did I report him to the police? No. Did he report me to the police? No. Would he been well within his rights to do so? Absolutely. And it's just the human dynamics of things. Now I feel like I was totally right for putting my hands on him, but I wasn't, because if he'd have beat my ass, I couldn't cry and play victim. But I noticed that a lot of times, sometimes women will provoke a situation, and then if a guy retaliates, we definitely want to play victim. Or with DDG, DDG didn't get online and admit that, yes, I called her a bitch and I did this, that, and the third. People try to wash away they shit like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Shit is just a little toxic. And now, do I think she should have called the police? I really don't know. I think you can have a lot of people in your ear to do something and to do some things, and it may not be as serious of a situation. Now everybody will say that all abuse is the same and niggas should be thrown under the jail, but when it comes to women, well, I hit softer than a man, so being the fact that I hit softer than a man, he should go to jail if he hits me back. I mean, it should be crazy to me. And so I be looking at it and I be like, I don't know. If a guy chokes you up, and it's a hard conversation when you really, really talk about people that are being like abused. And the thing is, I think a lot of times we as women, we like a little bit of toxicity. We like a little bit of it. A lot of women do. Now, most women ain't gonna get on here and tell you that they want to be, or most women will get on here and tell you that they want to be treated like a pretty, pretty princess. Talk nice, be sweet, la 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 la. But most women will not get on here and tell you that they will get up in a nigga face. They be mushing them upside his head, talking shit. We ain't gonna tell you all that, and then remain with a dude. You know what I'm saying? So, just my 2 cents on that. Hold on.
I mean, that's his job, though.
That's an odd job. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This is where I start getting into like my elder millennial bag. Like I'm an old head type shit. I don't understand that shit.
The streaming shit.
I don't
Just being
understand
on there all the
I
time.
don't understand it. That's Truman Show to me.
Yeah.
Every aspect of your life is captured on, and then also too, if that's your like your main source of income and stuff like that, like it's cool. It does have like its cool aspects. Like I think the what's his name, like Playboy Max or something like that.
Yeah.
What he be doing like with the rappers and shit, that should be cool as motherfucker. I don't watch it, but I watch the clips. I don't have time to just sit down and watch another nigga live their life all day. I can't.
It's a lot of kids that watch it.
It's a lot of
A lot of kids that watch it.
But that's the dangerous part, okay?
Yeah.
That's the part I'm gonna circle to.
Okay.
Because who does have the time to watch streamers?
Do y'all watch streamers? I can't ever see myself getting into like a Kai Cenat or anything like that. I've never watched an episode of DDG. And you know, they say DDG make music. It's so much music that I haven't seen ever before in my life. And so I just really can't get into it. Do y'all get into it? Are y'all watching it? I'm not into it. I can't do it. I can't.
Kids. They're being informed by these men because probably I wouldn't say it's mostly men. I'm sure women watch streams and shit like that too. But there's a lot of information being passed to like impressionable minds through these streamers in these situations. And I wouldn't say like even to touch on the Kai Cenat thing, like he did this streamer university thing, and the idea was that he was going to give like opportunities to, you know, lesser known streamers and things like that. All they had to do submit. He just gave it to the homies, like friends and family type shit, which
put your people on. Yeah, put your people on.
You would expect, you know what I'm saying? If you want to, especially if you want to have something successful, you're gonna make sure that the people that you know have some success, or at least on their way up, are involved in it, so that it makes sense. But I'm like kind of just going through like a rabbit hole of this shit, like just trying to figure out like what this shit is. And it's like I still don't get it. It's not for me to understand. You know what I'm saying? So like that's even the thing with DDG. It's like you having baby mom drama, but you live your life on the computer. So like everybody's involved in your shit, and then also too, you know, just generally speaking, whatever the issues are together, if he, you know, it hasn't been confirmed or denied that he's abused her physically or anything like that. He probably is like harassing the fuck out of shorty because he be activating the chat to harass her and shit. So that shit lame as fuck. But
see, I think he agrees with me. Like, I don't know if he's actually put like hands. Now she's saying that he's put hands, but I'm always curious. I know she went to have a restraining order filed against him, but I'm kind of curious as to why she didn't file DB charges against him, or if she has. I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know.
Also, too, exploiting your child like that, like your child ain't old enough. You shouldn't be wanting to put your child on the internet, bro.
No,
especially when you talking about like streamers, niggas that really be on the computer and doing reverse Google searches and can find your IP address and shit like that, all that weird shit. Like it's just a dangerous game. But I'll speak to this perceived war on black men, right? Like anytime, like okay, Diddy and Tory, right? Anytime stuff like that.
Okay, we are about to get into it. This is the spot that I wanted to get to. Shout out to all the black men in the chat, and a question to black men and black women. Do you perceive that there's a war on either one of you? Do you think there's a war against black women? Do you think there's a war against black men? The narrative has always been that the black woman remains the most unprotected. And I have quite a few thoughts on it. I would say that I think there's a war against both, but I think there are other entities involved in perpetuating that war. I also feel like we're at a point nowadays where everybody kind of wants revenge on each other. Oh, black men did this, and so being that black men did this deserves to happen to him. Or if black women did this, then this deserves to happen to her. You know what I mean? And I think that our compassion for one another as a group is damn near depleted. Unless you're like out in real life, because out in real life, I will definitely see couples and families and shit like that. But if I get online and I'm consuming all of this content and shit, the shit online makes life outside of being on the computer. They make shit seem so much worse on the computer versus being outside. Outside, I think, some of these conversations are definitely starting to happen, but when you get online, it's like you go into like another dimension of shit, and it's the worst of the worst, and you hear the worst of the worst, and you're seeing the worst of the worst. And if you're a person that constantly, or this is all the only type of content that you're consuming, I understand why you will be feeling some type of way. I understand why you would feel there's a war, so to speak, on black men and black women. I feel that. I get that. I got some thoughts, and I'm gonna save it because I've been thinking about it. Like when I listen to some of these clips, I definitely want to bring up points. So I'm gonna save some of it for some of the points. So just hold on a second. Let's get into it.
That happened. They say, "Oh, it's a war on black men." Like when niggas when their dirty deeds catch up to them,
Mhm.
they say it's a war on black men. But the part that confuses me is that this war is not being waged by black women. But that's the way it's set up.
I actually disagree with that. I disagree with that. If we're looking online and they talk about the war online being waged from black women toward black men, I absolutely disagree with that. I think that a lot of black women are super duper hurt, upset, bitter. I absolutely disagree with that. I think it is being waged by black women, or some aspects. If you're talking about online, absolutely. I do think that. I do.
The way that they would have you perceive it is that this war on black men is waged by black women.
And it's not.
It's not. So, and I say that to say something like academics, right?
Right.
He posted a picture of Megan next to Carol Bryant, and somehow wants to compare Emmett Till to Tory Lanez is insanity.
Wow. That's wild.
First of all, when I see you,
yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Do y'all think that is absolutely insanity? If you are, truth be told, none of us knows what happened that night because we weren't there. The biggest problem that I have, and this is where the pandering shit kind of comes in on his part. The pandering shit comes from his part, and I'm talking about Deontay. Megan Thee Stallion lied. Meg has lied a couple of times and has been caught in those lies. Now, she will say, well, I told this lie because I wanted to protect him and I wanted to make sure that he was okay and la 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 la. But then you hear an excerpt of one thing, and then she gets on Gayle King, tells a bold-faced lie that she hadn't had sex with Tory Lanez. And what I've noticed, people will totally ignore the lies and then focus on the rest of the stuff. And if the other side points out lies, they'll show where Tory has been inconsistent in his shit, all while not acknowledging that Meg has lied. And it's like we will look over, as women for sure, we'll overlook her lies and act like that didn't mean anything, that she lied. I mean, she lied, but ABCD. She lied, but that it doesn't mean anything because Tory Lanez is guilty. DNA was inconclusive. You have people that have testified that her and Kelsey got into a fight. She had I think I've heard two conflicting stories where it comes down to glass versus bullet fragments being in her foot. But what we do know is that she was running around like a spring chicken maybe 2-3 days after the fact. We know that. Then when it comes down to reputations, we will hold black men's feet to the fire when it comes down to their reputation and if they've lied, if they got caught up in some bullshit. But I noticed that when it comes down to women, women definitely ain't gonna focus on it. Men might focus on it for a little bit, but y'all kind of get caught in a catch-22 because if you as a man focus on a woman's shit too much, you are gonna be looked at as you're gonna be looked at as weak. I'm gonna look at you like, why you focused on this? Take care of the men. Take care of the men. Watch what the men do. Watch what your brother's doing. Why you got your and so it's a catch-22 when a man does focus on the shit that women do. But the problem is women won't hold other women accountable and we'll just sit here and be like, oh, okay, she lied, but Tory's still guilty. He's still guilty. It was proven in a court of law. And then I'm sitting there looking like the justice system, the justice system works for whoever pays for it. That's who the justice system works for. And then sometimes, listen, what's them dudes that was it was Abercrombie and Fitch, right? So you had some CEOs of Abercrombie and Fitch get caught up in a sex scandal. That shit was brushed under the rug so fast. Nobody said anything. They were allowed to bond out. It was swept under the rug. We haven't heard anything since. I don't even know if there was a trial, but it's not the same justice system for everybody. So then when they talk about, well, he was found guilty in a court of law, that shit don't really, to be honest with y'all, it doesn't hold any weight in my eyes nowadays. When you're finding out that most of these systems are corrupt, what does it mean for somebody to be convicted of something? And then to take it a step further, Black men are over half of the men that are exonerated or falsely accused to where they couldn't prove the shit and they've had to let these over half. So it's like when they talk, y'all know. Let me read the super chats real quick and then we'll get right back to it. Shout out to Auntie. Auntie, what's up? He says, I don't think there's a war on either. I think too many Black men and Black women are so consumed with the opinions of outsiders that they've totally neglected what's important. So everything's falling apart. #feelings. You know what? Auntie, I have to somewhat agree with that. The thing is, though, even without outsiders, I think we still have. I think humans are violent. I think humans gonna fight whether or not people are there or not. But the way that we don't stick together and uphold each other's shit, I don't know. I think even in that aspect, I think certain things are starting to change, but it just becomes blaming another race and pointing the fingers at everybody else and all that shit, which I do think they have some things to do with it, but I don't know if that's the main narrative or the main story that we can stick to now. And white people don't, child, they don't care. They don't care anymore. So I don't know. But shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. And shout out to Prophet. Prophet, I ain't gonna curse you out. I'll see you on the outside. Whatever, Prophet. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's get back into it.
Because that shit is so disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
And they fired the longstanding Librarian of Congress, which means that they're going to have access to a lot of history in America. And with what their track record is so far in this presidency, it's going to be a lot of history that's going to go missing or be rewritten. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at some like MAGA Council of Nicaea type shit. But the war on Black men has always been raised by the white society. White women seeing our sexual prowess, but using it like Carol Bryant did to be able to get us killed. Mass incarceration, school to prison pipeline. Black women don't have anything to do with that. They actually suffer under the same conditions. Now,
Ah, ah. I actually have to disagree with that too. When it comes down to Black women having nothing to do with certain aspects of that, I think it's a nuanced situation. If you have the majority of men that are locked up and they were raised by single mothers, and you have to have a man to teach to raise boys into men. Women can do the best that we can, but we don't really raise men. We don't know how to raise men. We're not wired to raise men. Men have to be around to raise other men. It has to be like that. The fact of the matter is, if the majority of the men that are in prison were raised by single mothers, then we absolutely have something to do with that aspect. We absolutely have something to do with that. Now I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my ass on this. Be ready. I'm gonna talk out of both sides of my ass on this. Because I'm also under the mindset that at a certain point, a man doesn't get to blame everybody, and it's up to you to save yourself. It's up to you to save yourself. Ultimately, it's up to you to save yourself. But if we're looking at patterns and we're recognizing patterns, and we see that the majority of men that are in prison um, are raised by single mothers, there's something that has to be accounted for there. Black women are raising a lot of these men, or have raised a lot of these men, and we're seeing the results of that. So I do think that we do have some what do you call, how you say it? We got something to do with it. Shit, child, y'all know I can't get these goddamn words straight, but yeah, I think we have something to do with it. I'm not gonna say that it's totally, a man is supposed to be a man is supposed to be a man, but if you have people that weren't ever raised to be men, or and it kind of goes the same for a woman being feminine. If you have never had nobody teach you these things don't come unless you actively seek them out. But if you're told that your way of life, and you're being coddled and told that everything that I'll tell you what Black women have done for our sons, brothers, uncles, whatever. We've made a lot of excuses. Well, he just didn't have this, and so this is the reason that he like that, and he ain't had. Oh well, I'm soft parenting and I'm ginger parenting. We I just he's just like that. Not to mention, the most violent, crazy, whatever's they getting all the cat. Ain't they getting all the pussy? What do you tell a guy that's raised by his dad, gone to school, did what he was supposed to do, has a job, take care of his has taken care of himself, didn't have a criminal record? What do you tell him? If he ain't dressed a certain way, he ain't shit. If he don't carry himself a certain way, he ain't shit. We don't give those dudes props. We give props to the deep boys and the drug dealers and the fly flashy niggas and the niggas with charisma. We give all the credit to those while looking at the other niggas and ew, he's so corny. Ew, he's so corny. That's what we do. So when it comes down to pipe to prison, school to prison pipeline, pipe to prison child. Yeah, I do think we have some responsibility to that. We have some responsibility to bear to that. Just a little. I do. So yeah, let's get back into it.
Oh, here's the issue that I take with this war on Black men and it being framed up like it's being raised by Black women, is that Black women are also dealing with the same conditions of being Black, but also being women.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
You get ready to go out. Getting dressed, you and the homies, couple pre-games,
Right.
get in the car, y'all finna hit the spot.
Okay.
Has it ever crossed your mind like, man, I hope these bitches don't ruin the night?
No.
Never.
Never.
It's never crossed your mind that a woman could ruin your night. Ever. If anything, hopefully
Yeah.
I can bag me a woman
Yeah.
and advance the night,
Right.
enhance the night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Women, whether they're going to the grocery store, going to class, going to the club, the thought has to always be in the back of their mind that a nigga will ruin their night.
Mm.
By if they turn a nigga down,
Yeah.
violence could ensue.
Right.
Physical violence or verbal assault.
Mhm.
Right? Nigga, first thing a nigga gonna do, stupid, ugly bitch.
Yeah.
You ain't.
Now, I have to keep it a buck. Yeah, I absolutely think that that's true. I absolutely think that that's true. The problem is if the majority of those guys gather around and most single mothers come from the hood and they're raising, these are the products of single mothers, where you would have to worry about most dudes raised by their fathers have more they say that men have more emotional intelligence as raised by their mothers. No, they tend to be more feminine when they're raised by their mothers. But when a man is masculine and is able to control himself and put some stop on himself, there's definitely something to account for that. But if the products of single mothers are going to these places and shit, we raise the motherfuckers that we scared of. We didn't raise them. Now we scared of them because they really ain't had nobody to control them or put them in place or teach them discipline and teach them how to emotionally regulate. We don't know how to do that. And if you have a group of these type of dudes gathered in one place, you goddamn right we scared. Yeah, we scatter our own product, child. That's the shit that and I low key feel like he pandering a little bit, because like I said, it's a nuanced situation. You just can't walk over there and be like, well, yeah, it's definitely a thought. If I walk into a place and I see a whole bunch of, hell no, I will turn around. I'm not pulling up to no gas station in the middle of the night. I'm not pulling up. If I go somewhere, if I have to go somewhere, because I ain't gonna be getting no gas in the middle of the night in the first place. But if I have to pull up to somewhere, yeah, my head on a swivel. 9 times out of 10, yeah, don't walk up on me. But yeah, I think that, hell, men are scared of men, women are scared of men. Are men the problem? Never mind. Let's get into it. Let's see.
Ain't they fine anyway?
But you tried to holler.
But you tried to holler.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that we just, not even idea, just a stone cold fact. A lot of niggas can't take rejection.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
See, we was in training grounds. We used to go to the mall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you 13, 14, 15, you go to the mall.
Yeah.
You know, you a teenager, Friday night, Saturday night.
That's what you want.
You go to the mall, you try to holler, you try to get you some numbers.
Get your fresh fit on.
Put you a fit on, bro. I used to go good Jabos,
Yeah.
cleanest Air Force. I'm in the mirror.
But see, they don't do that no more though.
Yeah, they don't do
They
that.
online all day, every day.
It's not a lot of human interaction.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of interaction
Yeah.
happening, which the fear of rejection increases the less you interact, because this is not a muscle you've worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem. We go break the ice right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a muscle that we've worked on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you're gonna get 100 no's before you get a yes.
You're gonna get some
You'll
no's.
100 no's.
But the thing is also too, sometimes how you handle the no, you gotta handle the no the right way so you can go get the yes.
Yeah, yeah.
You walk around angry now.
Nah, you can't walk around angry.
You walk around angry, you ain't gonna get that yes.
Just learning from your mistakes. What I did wrong. I can advance to this yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I came
Now, let's keep it a buck here too. You see so many women online complaining about how guys will not approach them. You see so many women online complaining about how guys won't approach them. A guy will stare at you, won't say a word to your ass. But part of that is also women's fault. Now, this ain't gonna be the podcast where I'm sitting here and I'm just gonna blame women for everything, because I do think that there's some responsibility for everybody to bear. It's enough shit to go around. I promise you it is. But if I turn a dude down and I'm loud and I'm stupid and I'm crazy, there has to be some account from that aspect too. But if I turn you down and you call me a stupid ass bitch or a stupid ass, it's stuff on both sides, because we're not showing compassion to each other. If you walk up to me and I'm telling you, well, yeah, I got a man, and you still like on it, I'm gonna try to get away from your ass as quickly as possible. I'm still gonna be looking around. I'm not gonna be stupid enough to just, walk away not thinking anything's gonna happen. Most of the time it doesn't, but I keep my head on a swivel. But then at the same token, if a guy approaches you and you don't find him attractive, you don't have to be a bitch or you don't have to be an asshole because you don't find a guy attractive either. And you will get 1,000 no's before you get a yes, but even in the rejection, there should still be some decorum. And I think that we lack decorum toward each other. Let me read these super chats. Shout out to y'all coming through for you, sis. Good stuff. Shout out to MOT. He says, this is what happens when you raise a community of game. Too late now. Oh shit, MOT. We had to get into it. Shout out to you. Shout out to Demetrius. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. And shout out to the Ronimer. I love the name. He says this dude is one bad breakup away. I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes down to dudes like this, and he's gonna kind of get into the swag shit and the going against the game shit and whatnot, or talking about the game shit, not going against it. Dudes like him ain't really what's the word? Pussyless. It would be easier for him to get a good woman than for a woman to get a decent dude. And I'm saying like a decent dude that makes money, is fly, cute, sexy, handsome. It's much easier for him than it is gonna be for a woman. So I don't know. I think that he would have a better chance than a woman nowadays. Truth be told, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, let's play. Let's see.
I'm a little hot.
Yeah.
Or I came in a little too low.
Yeah.
Mumbling.
Mhm.
Didn't have enough confidence.
Yeah.
This is a
women peep that too. If you come in,
yeah.
they be like, nah, nigga, you need confidence.
If you're a handsome young man, they'll overlook it as cute.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we gotta acknowledge the privileges of being a more of an attractive man. You get away with a little bit more.
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I have heard many conversations where it's like, if you weren't so fucking cute, nigga, it should be over.
Yeah.
I'm dump niggas for less.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And so they treat him a certain way. And he would be able to pull women a lot easier. And he's probably making decent money, especially with this podcast. Definitely not my type, but I would see why women would be attracted to him. Seems like he has a low-key cool personality. He can joke, he can get a joke, he ain't stupid. He seems like he got some sense. Seems like he was raised around men, and women tend to go for that. So I'm not gonna say that I don't get why, like yuck, but yeah, he would be able to get a good woman before a good woman would be able to find a good man. Okay, let's go.
you know what I'm saying? There is advances and privileges that come along, but there's also privileges that come with being a man.
Facts.
And we have to acknowledge the privileges that we have as a man, that we don't have to worry about like sexual harassment.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, rape, like those aren't things we think about.
Mhm.
Women go to the club, you ain't nobody trying to roofie you, nigga.
Yeah.
And take advantage of you.
I don't want to stop him too much, but men don't have to think about it, but boys do. And then when we wonder why our boys are so sexualized or overly hypersexualized, a lot of times they have been fucked with by women when they were too young. They weren't ripe enough for a lot of the situations, and that happened, but nobody addresses that either. And he would be a babysitter, a type where he was molested by his babysitter and doesn't necessarily realize that he was molested. And I've noticed that a lot of guys just like him, a lot of them have been taken advantage of by older women, but nobody has anything to say about that. We sweep that shit under the rug and we keep it moving. And then when these niggas grow up and be older, and they're older and they're hypersexualized, it's a fucked up cycle that they don't do nothing but fuck women over. And the cycle continues. Nobody says anything about it though.
you go in the club right now and it was me and you, let's say me and you, we go to the club. We walk in the bitch, nothing but women.
Right.
We're gonna be like, shit.
Let's do it.
Hey,
Let's do it.
hey.
It's a good night.
First of all, this for the public.
Yeah. How we get here?
How did we get this
Yeah,
lucky?
Yeah.
It's nothing but women here.
Mm-hmm.
If a woman and her homegirl walk in the club is nothing but men, that's a dangerous situation for them to be in. I'm almost tired of like this idea that we have where it's like white people saying there's a war on white people, or white people are being victimized, or white people need to unite. It's like the black men kind of get into the same bags as white women sometimes, where we don't want to take accountability for our actions or the actions of our brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You.
Oh God. Okay. Is it me? Or is he pandering? Is he pandering? Now, I do feel that men should hold men responsible for shit that men do. I absolutely think so. I feel like women should hold women accountable for the shit that women do. I absolutely feel like that too. I feel like we both should be able to look at that shit from a bird's eye view and be able to call both of them out. What do y'all think about that? I feel like he's pandering. Y'all don't feel like he's pandering? I feel like he's doing a little pandering. And then when it comes down to being accountable for whatever actions or who we should be accountable for, most dudes, if they didn't did the right thing and society has said, F you, you still ain't shit, you done went and got your degree and shit, you still ain't nothing, because y'all remember I used to talk about how people reject kids from a young age, and all of this shit kind of starts like when you're young, right? Now, imagine being a person on the other side of that rejection, and all somebody has done is dogged them out, rejected them, and said they ain't shit. Why should they be responsible for the group? And the problem is, nowadays, it's like everybody for themselves, figure it out. Everybody for themselves, figure it out. And I would say that that other societies have a more cohesiveness. I don't think it's as bad as a problem. Now, they'll fuck each other over too, but when it comes down to public perception and shit like that, they tend to stick together more as a group, while we will still kind of dog each other, yada yada, you know, whatever. But I don't know. Let me see, y'all.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well.
And I think that's some bullshit too. I don't know. You know, you have people that talk about the crimes being committed against women, and those crimes that are committed against women are usually by men. That's a fact. That's definitely a fact. But it's a very nuanced situation. The crimes committed against women are generally by someone they know. Someone they dealing with, someone they know. Yeah. But I don't think most of the crimes against women come from men approaching women and a woman rejecting them, and then, you know, they being unalived or some shit like that. I don't see that. I don't believe that.
Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da-da-da-da-da. I have to go on the actions of the group.
Right.
The group as a whole, and the history of that group as a whole tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted.
Right.
And if you can understand that as a black man and your stand towards white people, then you should absolutely be able to understand women's stance towards you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a war on you waged by women. Actually, the war get a little thicker when we start talking about it from the perspective of a woman and the greater society of racism and white supremacy being waged against black people, and then the patriarchal society being waged against women. So they have to deal with two elements. One of those elements we don't have to think about. And honestly, we're perpetuated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's perpetuated against us young to look at women as objects,
right?
You know, to look at women only through the lens of a sexual desire and not as the human being that they are.
So then when women are acting as sexual objects and their worth has become how much pussy that they can show online and how much sex that they can sell, then what? You know what I'm saying? Then what? If you tell a woman that she shouldn't be showing off all her shit online and she shouldn't be doing this, that, and the third, that woman 9 times out of 10 cuss your ass out. Tell you can't tell her what to do. Who the fuck you think you are? Your man probably cheating on you anyway, baby. You can't really say. And then this same dude, him probably engages in strip club culture. Probably done fucked a couple hoes here and there and in between. That's the vibe he gives me. So then what? You talk out of, I feel like a lot of men kind of talk out of the side of their ass when it comes down to how they treat women. But then if we keeping it a buck, a lot of women want to be treated like hoes too. What we talking about? The culture is flipped on its fucking head.
And when you understand how to deal with women on a human level, you understand how much women will enrich your life.
Amen.
You want to turn it up a notch?
Yeah.
Get you a good woman. Get you a good black woman in your corner.
Amen.
Hey man, you want to see your life turn up?
Hey.
And see, this is the thing though. It's a privilege, bro. It's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? We often disregard the power of our black women. The spiritual essence that they're gonna bring to things, the knowing, the seeing, you know what I'm saying? Also, too, imagine it. They have to be hyper vigilant because they have to be constantly scanning the room, making sure that they're in a safe situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When we think about these kids who were clearly in Louisiana having the time of their fucking life because they graduated, and we think about white people's reaction to Black Joy.
Oh yeah, that's
it's not about civility. It's not about decorum. They don't like to see us happy.
That's what it is.
Now,
I actually feel like I can agree with that. I think that when we are happy and expressing joy, I don't know if you guys seen the graduation clip going viral online where it seemed like the whole goddamn graduating class was cutting up. And the fact of the matter is it's interesting because I think when you're in a vibe or something, like when, let's say they win a World Series or some shit for hockey, hockey's a predominantly white sport. They be going nuts. And I mean like losing their shit and nobody says anything. But I also think if they're running the media, controlling the narrative and they post something, the way that they word shit, the way that they say things or whatever, it's like, oh, well, look at those niggas. Look at them. Look at how they cutting up. I mean, they graduated, but there's never any excuse to act like that. But then they do the same things on their side. And I really think that it's just about perspective. Yeah, I don't look at them any different if they cutting up, and I don't feel like they should look at us any different when we cutting up. But there's definitely something negative placed on us when we're in a joyful a very, very joyful space, and we dance and we acting a fool. I honestly feel like people hate to see that shit, or it's always made to look wild and ghetto, or that's the perception that's kind of put out about it, right? What y'all think about that?
how often are women just having a good time and here come a nigga trying to ruin their fun?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. You can call it pandering, but if I was up here caping for white women, you wouldn't even mention that word. If I was up here caping for Hispanic women, you wouldn't even call it pandering. Only when we talk about this, only when we take pride and show love to black women, do you call it pandering. Get your motherfucking mind right. Use your cabeza.
Nah, it's pandering when you ain't holding them accountable. When you ain't calling them out on their bullshit. When you able to call men out, you should be able to call women out too. Because women are somewhat responsible for the shit that we have going on and the shit that we also perpetuate. But it should be called out on both sides. If you ain't calling it out on both sides, you are absolutely pandering to one group or the other. Absolutely pandering to one group or the other if you're not holding both accountable. Absolutely. That's when it's if you saying, well, yeah, it's all these bitches ain't shit, these bitches they don't do nothing but take welfare and take our kids away and la 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 la. And if you looking at your brother and your brother is fucking around with 15-year-olds and selling dope and doing all kind of hurt, and you ain't calling him out, yeah, it's pandering. It's pandering on both sides. We don't hold women accountable, and a lot of times men don't hold men accountable either. But if you ain't calling them out on both sides, you are pandering to one group or the other.
Why the fuck are we defending Diddy and Tory? Why? Tory Lanez shot a woman. He's going to jail, nigga. Period. End of story.
That's it.
They have the evidence. That's the court of law.
And that's where I have a problem at. The justice system is the justice system, but we've seen how this justice system works, and we see how corrupt it is. So no, it's not just the court of law and we can call it a day. I'm not gonna say that they ain't locked up motherfuckers that shouldn't be locked up for sure. But if over half the men that are exonerated are Black men, and we're targeted. This is not what I think. This is what I know. This is facts. Black men, and I'm not talking about we because I'm not a Black man, but Black men are targeted. The Black community is targeted. When y'all see roadblocks ain't generally set up in good neighborhoods, but set up in a hood to catch you, to catch Black people slipping, but they ain't doing the same shit in white neighborhoods or affluent neighborhoods, right? When it comes down to road construction of a city, and you see how the white side of the city is nice and leveled and hardly any potholes and shit, and then you go to the hood where everybody's still paying taxes and shit, but if you go to a certain subsection of the city and it's mostly Black people, you see how it is. So we can't say that either.
Oh, he sold an NFT and made $1 million. You know how many niggas was grifting and scamming and making money off them NFTs, nigga? Yeah. That shit was a one-time shot. He just so happened to hit that lick. Mm-hmm. He also just so happened to fire a gun and say, "Dance, bitch," and shot a woman, and now he's in prison. That's usually how that happens. Normally, if you shoot a gun and it hits him, first of all, let's not even talk about the fact that she tried to protect the nigga.
You don't know that, and that's my problem with it. If she's lied and she's told multiple lies, that would make her a what? A liar? That would make the bitch a liar, right? That would make her a liar. And if a person lies about one thing, they'll lie about something else. And if we done seen her lie at least 3 times in the media that we can literally count, y'all don't think she would lie about anything else? This is some pandering shit. This is pandering. We don't know what happened that night. We know what they presented in court. We know what we seeing certain things that I ain't gonna say that wasn't presented in court, but how it was presented may be a different circumstance. But if the fingerprints were inconclusive for his DNA, they ain't find his DNA nowhere, and they found somebody else's DNA on the gun right there. That's a huge part of the problem, because DNA is used a lot of times to convict people, used a lot of times to say that this person is guilty of a crime. If they found no gun residue on the man, but they found some on Kelsey, I'm saying, like, this is some pandering shit right here. I don't know.
Yeah, we always fail to mention that. It's her mission to tear. They're making the territory down. She was trying to protect the nigga. Like, what?
Trying to hold the nigga down.
She's trying to hold him down.
Facts.
They're being held accountable. They're not being torn down.
Hey.
Free Diddy is crazy.
To be outside the courthouse with a Free Diddy shirt on.
First of all, your time would have been better spent not even protesting. I would have known it would have been Free Diddy. All you niggas just out there just having an orgy.
Out there with baby oil.
Yeah, I absolutely think the Free Diddy shit is absolutely crazy, because we've heard countless times how this motherfucker done terrorized and did whatever the fuck. He has done some wild shit. He has done some messed up shit to Black people in general. Now, he's a cultural icon, But do that motherfucker belong behind? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I think Cassie is as innocent as they've portrayed? Absolutely not. When it comes down to victimization, people like to put things in one box. It's either this or that, and all situations have nuances. Cassie did some shit. Now, the way that Diddy fucked her over and abused, some wild shit, but y'all know I done already went over. I didn't cover the Cassie situation twice. Go back and check out my videos on that. But yeah, let's hear this.
All on.
Yeah, just go all up, fuck each other. Fuck it. We would know what the protest was about then. No. We really have to address this. You niggas, like the level of hatred that you have for women is a little alarming. It's scary. Because sometimes these are men with wives. Sometimes these are men with daughters.
Hey.
You have to address whatever issues you listen, bro. You got to address whatever issues you have with women. You got to figure it out. Because I don't want, first of all, we may be speaking in an echo chamber, but we know that these clips gonna go online. As far as this podcast goes, I don't think any man that's listening to me is thinking like this, because we've been here long enough to establish, like, we don't go for that shit.
Facts.
We don't go for the misogyny. We don't go for the homophobia. We don't go for the transphobia. We don't go for none of that shit. Because that's not how you build community. You don't build community by constantly excluding people. If you want a He-Man Woman Haters Club, say that.
Oh God. Certain things I do think he's right about, but when it comes down to the misogynist, the misogynists are getting more pussy than the lame dudes any day of the week. Any day of the week. If a man feels like a woman needs to be in this place, that place, or he has a confidence enough to know how to handle her, know how to finesse with women, he gets most of the bitches. I do think that men should address men, but it does not make women not it doesn't give women a free pass. It absolutely does not give women a free pass. Women need to be on women's asses. The problem is we like to stand right on the edge of the hoe, right next to the hoe, but we don't want the hoe stench. We don't want the stench of a hoe on us, but we want to stand right next to her, uplift her, hold her up. It's not gonna be any problem, but as soon as the whole fuck out man, she ain't nothing but a dumbass. Y'all know how I go, man.
That's what you got Aiden Ross for, niggas. First of all, to let him get the disrespect of that nigga. When I see you,
it's on.
It's a lot of it's you know what I'm saying. Y'all ain't seen niggas like us before. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Keep it real with you, son. You ain't seen a lot of niggas like me before, okay? You seen rappers.
Yeah.
You know, you seen the crash out niggas that fake tough guys. Those niggas like Top 5 that like to get on the internet, talk a lot of trash. We don't do that. I'm telling you, when I see you.
And the cousins coming. The cousins are coming.
I'm gonna treat you like my mama used to treat me. I'm gonna get you for the old and the new. We have to stop. Okay.
All right. All right.
So every now and then I know when I'm gonna drop a bar.
Okay. All right.
You have to stop seeking equity and degeneracy. That's what you want to be equal to these white men with. Their ability to be degenerate. Their ability to get away with harming others.
Oh, child. I think me and Kerlin had a conversation about, I want to say we talked about this last night. I want to say that we talked about this last night. When it comes down to degeneracy, it's not necessarily about holding each other accountable versus saying that they get away with it and we're not allowed to get away with it. And it brought up a conversation about Lotto and her body count. So I don't know if you guys have seen this clip. Lotto's a rapper. Lotto is talking about she has a low body count. And I've seen a lot of women online calling her a pick me, saying that she's one to do this so she can get male attention, yada, 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 saying that she has a low body count and bragging about it. And I saw a woman say, well, white women don't get penalized for their sexuality. And then when it comes down to morals, it's a real live moral issue. It's a moral issue. I don't think white women are penalized for their sexuality like black women are, but we want to stand on both sides of the fence as black women when it comes down to wholeness. I think men also want to stand on both sides of the fence when it comes down to degenerate behavior too. A nigga like Diddy is a cultural icon. Diddy has came up with hit after hit after hit, has produced some household names, has done that, right? But when we look at Diddy's degeneracy, give me somebody. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen, I say, would be a cultural icon for white people, maybe. They let Charlie Sheen do what he do. They swept that shit under the rug. With Diddy, I think a lot of black men are saying that they would want him to get away with it. Because how many white men we've seen get away with it. We've seen a lot of white men get away with the same behaviors. And I think that black men are looking like, well, it should be equal for all. The fucked up part about it is, though, what's fucked up, if Diddy was free today, if Diddy got free today, Diddy would have millions of bitches on him. Y'all ever heard of Charles Manson? Serial killer from like the 60s and shit? And how they said that this motherfucker was torturing and killing people and doing all kinds of wild shit to people, and how this motherfucker had a fan club. Yeah, I'm sure y'all have heard about that. That's the shit. That's the shit that we talking about. It's like if you hold him accountable and you still have people that want to deal with them on both sides, then it becomes like the like, what's justice? What does justice really look like? Diddy gets free. Diddy is still able to have power, access, still able to move certain ways. His kids still able to live a good life. And the big problem that I see is that we don't have any issues with people in power. We don't have any issues with people in power, because a lot of times people in power will do some fucked up shit in the public eye and then do some good shit in the public eye. And the good shit that they do, or the perceived good shit that they do, tends to outweigh the bad. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. You got a point there.
Because you view masculinity as violence.
Yep.
Your whole idea is packed up as masculinity is violence. Now, to be able to carry out violence is a masculine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Violence in and of itself does not determine how masculine you are. It's a tool, because it could be used as a tool to protect.
Facts.
It's a very masculine thing to do, protect. If we was hunting and gathering, the ability to carry out violence will provide. Being violent towards a woman because she rejects you, that's not no masculine shit. You're a pussy, bitch.
That's facts. That's facts.
Why didn't Cassie leave? We watched the whole video of her trying to get away.
We watched the video of her trying to leave.
We watched the video of her trying to leave.
Right.
In 4K.
Trying to get away.
And we saw what happened.
No. Hold on, bro. Hold on. We also saw her get with another nigga, and still went back and gave that pussy to Diddy. We saw that too. And that's the shit that I'm talking about. We saw that too. We saw her get away. We saw her get with somebody, be in the public eye with them, and still went back and gave that pussy to Diddy. Still. when she was fucking around with Kid Cudi, yeah, I feel like Diddy probably would have killed all of them up. Diddy's like that, but the problem is when she did have an opportunity to get away, and she did get away, and then she went right back to it. There has to be something said for that, but most people want to sweep that part of the story under the rug and only focus on her victimization, only focus on her on the physical abuse aspect of that, but you're not focusing on what the fuck would possess her to do that. If you got away from somebody that you called a monster, you say he was the most horrible person, then to cheat with the nigga, or if they was on a, people say they was on a break, whatever. She went back to him now. She went back and fucked him. If he wanted her, he could have had her. Right? She left the nigga because he said Kim Porter was his soulmate. She ain't lead a motherfucker because he had her doing 12-hour freak offs. She didn't lead this nigga because he was whooping her ass. She left this nigga because this nigga said that Kim Porter was his soulmate. She said that. That's the shit that be pissing me off. Because we don't tell the whole story. We'll tell a part of the story. Daddy is a monster. He's a monster. Lock that nigga under the jail, but we're gonna have to deal with the shit that Cassie was on too. We're gonna have to deal with that kind of shit as a society, because that's about to be that's been a problem. That's been a problem. We gotta deal with that as a society.
Yeah.
First of all, to not acknowledge the psychological effects of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
He was using a woman as a sex slave.
That's what she was.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
One of the dudes got up on the stand and said the sessions would last sometimes up to 10 hours. If you think a woman is enjoying that, have you ever had sex with a woman?
Obviously, they have not.
They couldn't have had sex. They couldn't have never had sex with a woman.
Because women be like, all right, nigga.
No, bro, listen, I ain't gonna lie.
I ain't gonna lie. That shit sounds horrifying. A lot of the shit that she went through was absolutely horrifying. But to go through some of the most horrific shit that you've ever been through with a person, and you get an opportunity to leave this motherfucker, and you leave, and then you go back, we got to deal with that. We have to deal with that.
After a woman get her,
yeah,
if she get her big rock off,
yeah,
she done.
Yeah,
she gonna be like,
yeah,
she gonna make it sound sexy. She's gonna say, "Come for me, baby."
Yeah, that's it. That means she's ready to stop.
If she starts saying that,
yeah,
wrap it up.
Are that enough for me, daddy?
Yeah. That means, I'm done.
I mean, wrap this shit up.
I mean, I'm good.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hey, y'all done got me.
Yeah.
Now, if you see, to school you, never had sex with a woman, or took a woman to climax. Yeah. There's some little rocks.
Yeah, and that's that big rock. Yeah, for sure.
When that big rock come, wrap
this shit up.
I ain't gonna lie.
You don't even want to be touched no more.
You did what you came to do.
Yeah,
you put it down.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do from this point is make it worse.
Yeah. Now you're making it enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was good. He was at a 10. You drop it down to a 6 now because you want to keep going.
Yeah. You're doing a lot. This ain't a movie. This ain't a porno. This is real life, brother.
Yeah.
She's exhausted.
Good 35-minute session.
Yeah. Hey, bro, look. I ain't gonna lie. Tight 20.
Yeah. As long as you came to do what you came to do. Yeah. Tight 20, 25.
Sometimes a hot 10. Though.
Hey, listen. A hot 10? A good hot 10. I'm talking about
a passionate 10.
A passionate 10 is better. A passionate 10?
You're not gonna last.
No, you're not lasting the passionate 10.
All right, let's start. We're getting excited.
Yeah, we are. But I'm just saying.
We're literally talking about a woman being a sex slave right now.
Are we?
That's how we got.
See how that shit funny? Okay. Shout out to Leo Anthony. He said Black people are the world's entertainment. Sadly enough, we are. Shout out to you, Leo. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the super chat.
That's all we got here? Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's get it back on track.
We're getting excited.
Yeah, we are.
We got to calm down.
All right. Bring it back.
Yeah, because we say that to say that what this woman was experiencing was not sexual.
Yeah.
It was rape. Yeah, for sure. It was rape. It was rape. On a consistent basis, he was paying people to rape her. and she has to transform within herself. This is why you can say, oh, you're gonna get your hair like that. You know, when she shaved the side of her head.
Mm-hmm.
What's this video? Me and You? That's her song, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The video don't even match up with that.
The song?
Yeah. That's a joyous ass song.
Yeah.
The video a little
dark.
A little raunchy.
Hey.
Because he was in control of her entire career. Diddy is probably like, you know, as far as black men go in this music industry, this is how you operate with pure evil.
Yeah.
Because he saw equity in degeneracy. He made the money, and he had the opportunity to make a lot of promising careers. A lot of successful black artists could have came up under him. He had an ear for music, and he allowed his degeneracy to overshadow his talents. What he learned from Clive Davis is how to fuck an artist and how to fuck them over. Both ways. Both ways. Fuck them over financially, fuck them over mentally. That's what you get from Clive Davis. He sought his equity and degeneracy. We're going to see some stuff like that. This is what we have to understand.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think there's definitely some equity in there. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I think Diddy could have really, really done a lot more, but the whole record industry was about blackmailing people, making sure you had them on camera and shit. And I want y'all to notice something. Right? Do y'all remember when we first heard about this case coming out and that the FBI had confiscated all these cameras and shit, and Diddy had all these cameras wired up around his home and all this, that, and the third? What the fuck was on the videotapes, and why everybody... Now, when you hear about a freak off, they're only trying to associate that shit with Diddy and Cassie only. Diddy and Cassie only. And Diddy, Cassie, and the male prostitutes. But I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think it was some other motherfuckers that was involved. I think that y'all know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think that Hollywood is a big ass cult. I think that all them damn celebrities that was caught up was like, we all gotta deny this shit. Otherwise we'll all be implicated in it. We all have to deny it and let this just be a them thing, or we're all gonna be implicated in it. But I don't believe for a second that it was just Diddy and Cassie and some... I don't believe that. Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I think that there was way more celebrities involved. Hollywood is a sinister place, but it's so weird how all that shit, like I'm hearing like a Amber Rose talking about she was never involved in a freak off. You say you was never involved in a freak off, but at the same breath, you talking about having threesomes. You worked at the strip club, plus you didn't strapped on. Like, girl, shush. Ray J ain't never seen a freak off. Stevie J ain't never been to a freak off. Yeah, I fuck out of here. I'm like, quit fucking playing with us. Like, we know better. I'm sorry.
Understand what that is. We have to understand that's what they're doing. You have to stop listening to men who hate women but desire women for their sexual validation. You gain nothing from this. And they prop the money up. The money has nothing to do with the mentality. What we start doing when we start listening to these red pill niggas, when we start listening to a nigga named Myron Gaines, first of all, you can't look at a nigga and tell he lame. You have to be able to look somebody in the eye and just be like, yeah, this nigga lame as a motherfucker. Why would you ever listen? He don't look like he get no bitches.
Did he not just do the same shit that he accused other niggas of doing, relegating a nigga to how many bitches he get? Did he not just do... He literally just did that, right? He literally just did that. No, Myron doesn't look like he get bitches. I agree. I agree. Myron does not look like he get bitches. He don't. Do I like Myron? No, I don't. I actually think Myron's the worst type of white supremacist. Myron is the worst. I will see Myron get up there and argue for all the white folks on the face of the planet, but when it actually comes down to black men or black people, yeah, there's definitely something against us as a culture, as a community, for sure. Absolutely. I see that. Yeah, but I would be lying to you. I would be lying to you if I said that everything that came out of Myron's mouth was a lie. Myron ain't telling the whole truth, but Myron ain't telling all lies either. That's the problem. Myron is mixing some of this shit just like this nigga's mixing some truths with some lies too. Just like he doing.
Okay, first of all, both of them fresh and fit dudes. Me, Big Cat, and them, and we're gonna go out, we're gonna go clubbing one night. They don't have no names and neither do we. Who you think getting numbers? It's okay. It's okay. These two studs, these two handsome men, funny guys, know how to dress. Not that fucking cop and his loser friend. If anything, we gonna have to separate, like, bro. We gotta go to the 2-minute drill and separate from these niggas. They fucking the vibe. Yeah. Make our rounds. We gotta make our rounds. And then come. Hey, y'all post up right here. We'll be right back. Yeah. If we have any shot. Yeah. of just getting a number. Right. You know, me and Big K go out. We gonna set up the vibe. That's a fact. Y'all ladies, y'all good? Yeah. Y'all hungry? Y'all good? Yeah, drinking. Y'all want something to drink? Y'all doing? You know, we was at the pool party. I was like, hey, fuck these niggas. Yeah. Would y'all like a pizza? Mm-hmm. It's a food truck. Baddies was happy. Yeah. Are they fiends? Oh my God. I want nothing more than some food right now. Please. Niggas are just trying to feed me Don Julio. That's it. Now let me take care of you. Yeah, let me take care of your stomach. Let me get you back right. I don't even want your number. Let me hydrate you. You just kept me over here looking good and hungry. You look hungry. Yeah. Starving. A lot of Don Julio been flowing. Sun is beaming. The sun beaming. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure these young women eat. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Go get them a pie. They was happy. Happy as hell. Mm-hmm. They start shaking ass after that. Yeah. But you listen to men who hate women, but they seek women for their sexual validation. You a nigga like these men, fresh and fit, these red pill guys, Aiden Ross, like Andrew Tate, the Tate brothers. They emphasize, they are constantly emphasizing this idea of masculinity, right? But the message is always conflated with like some hatred for women. Mm. I don't fucking.
I don't think that all the red pill hates women. I don't think that the red pill community hates women. I think the red pill community is more concerned at what women get away with and what women perpetuate than what men have been able to get away with. And the fact that we talk shit about all these fucked up dudes, but all these fucked up dudes are still getting the ass. I think that's the biggest problem that the red pill has with the community in itself. And when niggas point out the inequalities of a lot of these situations, we want to look at the niggas and say that they hate women, but they pointing out shit that they've been victims of. And I don't necessarily think that they're wrong to do that. I don't think that they're wrong to do that. To me, that doesn't come across as hate. Now, that being said, have I seen some niggas in a red pill community that I absolutely think hate women? Absolutely. We've all seen that. But I don't think it's the red pill community as a whole. I don't think that.
I love women.
I love women, bro. Like, I was raised by a woman.
Yeah, man.
I hate a woman.
Yeah, bro. This is another thing too. Like, bro, I spent a lot of time with like my aunties. Yeah. And like, auntie was cool as a motherfucker. But see, this is the thing. We've never shared spaces with people like this, right? Mm-hmm. Before the internet. Right. There would always be a clear separation in how we function, right? Like, mm-hmm. Even in school, we don't function the same as them niggas. Like, niggas be a little weird when the girls come around. Yeah. And shit. Yeah. And we gone through a stage of puberty where shit, sex is like extremely important to us, right? Mm-hmm. And we're not trying to play these little games of like, hold on, here's another thing. I just thought about this. When white people make coming of age stories, they always make it from the position of the white boy that can't get no pussy. Mm-hmm. This starts young. Okay. American Pie. Yeah. And what type of guys? They always make it seem like the douche. Yeah. The douche is the one, the jock. He's the one getting the pussy. But it's not even about him being a douche or a jock. He's just confident. Mm-hmm. It's like the main thing. Why the fuck are you scared of me and shit? Like you're fucking up, you're fumbling over your words. It's all a confident thing, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here we go. That trait of violence. I'm gonna get to it in a minute. All right. I'm gonna tie it all in. We know how you work, baby. Yeah, we know how you work. Black women are low-hanging fruit for black men. Mm. And we're clearly jealous of their ability to win playing the long game due to our short-sightedness and our obsession with fast money.
I think that black men are jealous of women in the sense that a woman can go out and fuck. She can be a ugly, low down, trifling, dirty skank of a bitch, and she can still get some dick today. And the fact that a man could be upstanding, did all his homework back in school, he was in the honor society and shit. He tied his shoelaces. I mean, he did everything right. No criminal record, and he got to work to the bone to even sniff some pussy. He gotta buy that shit. And I think that men are jealous of that. Then the thing is, I think men are also jealous that women are able to lie, manipulate, cheat, do whatever, and society does not hold them accountable the same way that they do men. That's what I think. I'm not gonna say I think that's it's a problem. Because I'm a woman, and so I be wanting to get away with shit too, and I love the privilege of being a woman. I love the privilege of being a woman. I wouldn't know what to do if I was oh my god. But I think that that's a big issue with men in general.
They played the long game. They went into the education, they went into academia, and they've infiltrated the corporate world, and they found success in those spaces.
Mm-hmm.
But that's low hanging fruit for us because we can still because they want to be in community with us.
Yeah.
The 98% of black women seek a black man.
Yeah.
You don't hear them. You will see them online with a white man. You see them marry white men. Every now and then you may hear them speak derogatorily against black men and prop up white men. But the common thing is black men speaking derogatorily against black women and propping up any other woman.
Mm-hmm.
We do it in our music. We do it within our community due to colorism. We prop up light-skinned women or the foreign looks, yellow bone, red bone. There's been a resurgence. There's been some effort to show more love to black skin, brown skin, and dark skin women. And even in that, there's separation. Dark skin, brown skin, light skin, red bone, yellow bone. No, they're black women.
Yeah.
They're all black women. We're all black people. This obsession with putting us all in pockets comes from the colonizer. They only segregate you by color to use you. Me and Big Cat we're not supposed to hang out. We're not supposed to be friends. I'm supposed to think I'm better than him. And he's supposed to be mad at me.
I don't think colorism exists between men like colorism exists between women. And I've seen me as a dark-skinned woman. I would say the only time I face colorism, like for real, I can really point out like 2 times where I would say, And one time, I don't know, I told y'all the story about my greenie grand, where my greenie grand, I got these cousins, light skin, green eyes and shit. She would put all their pictures in the front of the house and would put all the dark skinned people pictures in the back of the house. And so every time my mom would go to our house and shit, my mom would be bringing all our pictures from the back and be putting these shits in the front. And my mom did this shit like several times. So it was like a running joke in our family. And one other time, right? So I was in my bad bitch era, like, oh, child was bad, right? And I went and hung out with this light-skinned girl, but the light-skinned girl, it was a group of us, but I really had the best body out of all of them. I would say I was the finest. I would say that, right? And I noticed that it was a couple of guys like really, really on this girl's ass. And these was like the ballers of, the guys that these were like the ballers of their group. And they was on this girl's ass. And I remember thinking to myself, like, her? That bitch? Ugh, yeah, right. But they was on her ass. And I was like, it's probably because she light skin. But other than that, I think that I've never really had to deal with it because I think I had the looks and personality. I'm fat now. Mind y'all fucking business, but that's not the point. The point was I ain't really ever see it like that. Now, you'll have other women that say that they've experienced it in a lot of ways, but I honestly can't say that was my overall experience. I cannot. I've always had men that like me. As a dark-skinned woman. As a dark-skinned country woman, had a fat ass. But don't know. I can't really say that was overall my experience. So I don't know. And I don't think men experience it on the level that women do now. I think that women do experience it in some ways. Like now, daycare, and I would give the example of daycare. If you see a little light-skinned mixed girl, a light-skinned mixed baby, how everybody's flocking to that light-skinned mixed baby. But if you see a little black girl with kinky, extremely kinky hair, people will push that baby off to the wayside. And I think adults perpetuate that shit more than anybody else does. But I don't generally see it in men. I see it in kids more so, and then grown women trying to click up. Like I'll see like a light-skinned girls click and shit like that. I'll be seeing stuff like that, but I don't know. What y'all think?
Typical niggas are falling hook, line, sinker. We've had a short-sightedness. If you want to talk about the war waged on black men, let's talk about the war on drugs. Let's talk about the war on the mind, the school to prison pipeline, the music industry, which propped up this idea that if you got fast money, you would get the women, you would get the cars, you would get the clothes. You would get all the material desires that you could ever want, but it comes via fast money. It doesn't come through hard work. So we've placed a low value on hard work until you get around some hardworking men. And they'll let you know, man, listen, man, you could be as popular and as famous as you want, but a real blue collar player, you ain't got nothing on them, brother. Trust me. Man, wake up every day, go put on that welding mask. Ooh. And then get off. Hey, man, the boy got good biceps on him. Yeah, he'll take your girl, bro. He'll steal your girl, bro. Trust me.
Right in the Hellcat.
Yeah. He done stacked his bread up, pulled up in the Hellcat. Yeah. He might do a little something on the side. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's true too. I think nowadays women like a hard working man, but we also still like the dudes that's out in these streets too. I think two things could be true at the same time. So yeah, let's see.
They get up every morning, baby.
Up at the crack of dawn. Crack of dawn with a lunch pail. This is why we advocate for these things, because we live in the reality. We live in the real world. A majority of our life and our lived experience is in the physical. This internet shit is like the 4D. Like it's a whole nother dimension. Yeah. And we didn't get our experiences from this shit. So you have to be mindful that there's a push, because the more you lean into the red pill shit, the more you're gonna lean into conservatism, and the more you're gonna lean into this right wing shit. It's basically all deployed to turn you into MAGA. You're gonna take people's information at face value as if they're an expert, just because the niggas in a fucking big ass mansion doing like.
That's the problem too. The problem is we're trying to make people fit in one box or the other, when I think the truth is more so in the middle. Looking at like some of the extreme right wing shit, shit gets to be ridiculous. But if I'd be a lie, I'd be a big ass lie if I told you that I looked at the extreme left and told you that I thought that all that shit was right too, because I don't. And I don't think that most people think like that. I think we can take values from both, but as a society, okay. Did y'all watch the inauguration, or maybe it was like the first couple months in office when Trump did a speech or whatever? I think that maybe had been a Republican National Convention, right? And he was saying things and giving awards to people, and the left would not stand up. When he gave that award to that little disabled child, and the left didn't stand up, the left would be like, well, it's because he had this kind of motive and that kind of motive, versus focusing on what was right in our face. I would stand up for a kid who was brave enough, or who showed bravery, or who was receiving an award. I would stand up for a kid. I would stand up for if they caught criminals who raped somebody and a person was able to receive justice from that. I would stand up for that. As a society, we look crazy as fuck. Like really look at this shit and really think about it. People would like to add all the nuanced situations in there and be like, well, it's because this side. I'm not standing up for it because it's this side. You know how crazy that shit looks? When it came down to them talking about transgender sports or whatever, and how a girl got her ass tore out the frame. She got her ass tore out the frame. And he was saying what he was going to do about that. And people wouldn't have any empathy for this girl getting a bricks beat off of her. And so they wouldn't clap for that, but they would clap for rights, but they wouldn't clap for justice for the other side. And I feel like that's where we fucking up as a society. That's where we fucking up. Because what? Why wouldn't you clap for that? I don't know. It was super weird to me. Super weird.
Bench presses.
Niggas doing incline bench presses in the middle of a living room in a mansion, and you think he must have the answers. Nigga, you think about you like this is like what I thought about like wrestlers.
Yeah.
I thought these were larger than life. You know what I'm saying? It's the kayfabe. I was falling in love with the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was my soap opera.
Yeah.
But when you become a man, you put away childish things, and you also learn not to take things at face value.
Never.
You got to take things at a grain of salt. With a grain of salt. And our short-sightedness and understanding of like this thing about us wanting to be hustlers and things like this is also capitalistic propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
They play the long game and they're having success and they're raising their standards. And we're jealous of that. Is it jealousy? Is it envy?
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it when you so overtly hate them. Low racial self-esteem. Hey, great term.
It's a powerful thing.
It's a powerful thing because you start to see you prop up other women from other races, even other men of other races. Should get a little
messy.
Get a little messy.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this shit I just don't get.
I don't understand it all.
But one thing we don't talk about enough when we reference slavery is eugenics.
Okay.
The breeding. Either breeding in or breeding out. How did they get rid of the rebel? Ridding of the rebel. Systemically removing rebellious genetics. That rebellious spirit. In the common population via prison and murder. War on drugs. Get rid of the rebel. What do you...
Honestly, I think he has a point there. Honestly, I think he has a great point there. I think he has an absolute great point there. Because it seems like it's kind of like let's tame. These are wild animals. Let's take this spirit out of them. I think that's a great point. I don't disagree with that.
What do you lose when you lose these violent men? To tie it back in, your idea of masculinity is your ability to perpetuate violence, but a real masculine man knows how, when, and where to perpetuate that violence. So what do we lose when we lose these violent men? A confident man, a self-assured man, a protective man, a militant man, very territorial, very authoritative, aggressive, vigilant, provisionary, assertive. And when we lose these men to the system, and we lose these men to the street, we lose these men to Jim Crow, we lose these men to all these systemic factors, what are we left with? These docile men. These docile men who say, you want a thug and you want a gangster. You don't want a good guy, but you're not really actually a good guy. You're just not confident. You scared to say, damn, baby, you look good. Like, what's up? Yeah. How you doing? Yeah. Let me holler at you real quick. Like, let me holler at you real quick. You don't have the confidence to do that, but these men who would carry out violence, who will carry out violence, know when and where, because they used it to be provisionary. A lot of street niggas, real street niggas, these men that were heralded, they took care of everybody. But
I actually think that he has a certain point even there. Like I said, I still think it's some nuance there because you can have guys that are college educated. Let's say they were a fraternity or something like that. I've seen those guys get a lot of cat, no problem whatsoever. So I do think there's some points to be made there, but then even when you're talking about people that were raised in the streets, so to speak, I think that there's a certain... So I be feeling like you can gain superpowers from wherever you are bred from. you bred from the streets, you tend to understand humans better. You tend to know how to read people better. Be like the niggas that come in that go to jail. Have y'all ever noticed how well read? I shouldn't say it like I don't think it's nothing to be made fun of, but most motherfuckers that spend some time in prison, how they come out and then you have a conversation with the motherfuckers. What ain't had time to do nothing but read, but a lot of times they be having some knowledge for your ass. And you be like, this motherfucker was in prison, but you know. So I do think you do gain superpowers from wherever you were raised from. There was a power from there. I just don't think that we recognize each other's power in that regard and are able to utilize that within each other. So I think that's true. I think what he's talking about is true.
Because rebels become revolutionary with education. So by making education systemic and unappealing to that rebellious spirit, he or she is often converted into criminality. It's unappealing. It's boring.
Right.
A rebellious spirit. This shit ain't something about this. I don't like this shit.
Right.
They can see it. They can see the play the whole way away. A rebellious spirit. I got a rebellious child. Cohen, very rebellious. I asked him the other day, I said, and this is a real conversation, I can back up. I recorded it, but I wouldn't play the recording because he said he doesn't want anybody to hear that.
Okay.
And I asked him, I was like, you had a particularly rough year in school this year. I want you to name I need to know your 3 problems with school so we can find some solutions. The very first thing he said to me is that I feel like I live at school and I visit home. And I don't have anything to look forward to because when I get a job, it's going to be like I live at work and I only visit home. And I said, well, son, sounds like you understand capitalism. Sounds like you get it. You feel exploited. You feel exploited. I should be at home. Like, this is my home. Yeah. I ain't spending no time there.
Right.
And he said, even when I get out of school and I go home, I got to do homework. He's detailing these things. You know what? Hold on. I don't like this idea that niggas ain't gonna believe me.
Nah, I'm saying, but
all right,
don't play it because he said not to play it.
Yeah, he told me.
I don't think they're not gonna believe you.
Right. But the thing is like when he said that, I was like, God damn, at 11?
At 11. I mean, but we all felt like that though.
Yeah, but nobody asked.
Nobody asked us. Yeah, nobody asked us that. Yeah.
Nobody asked.
Right.
So I was never able to express that.
Right. But that's a good thing that you asked him.
The rebel.
Yeah.
I want to know where, but we've gotten rid of the rebel. The rebellious niggas is in the streets.
Yeah.
They don't understand. The education has been controlled. It's systemic. Only people scared to take the risk. You too scared to take the risk of not going to school. And a person that's a rebellious person, but they're very critical with their thinking, understand I got to lock in and use this for the long term. That's what our women have done.
Yeah.
But listen, it's all systemic. Nobody likes school. People like subjects.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if I don't like social studies,
yeah, I'm not gonna like it.
I'm not gonna like it. It's nothing. It is what it is. Everybody gravitates. There's people out here who are accountants, bro. They deal with money all day, every day, and they love it. They love numbers. That's their thing. I can't do it. I'm more of a
but if you look at whose schools are who's writing all the lesson plans and who's at the head of the food chain when it comes to schools, it's white women. And I can go down a rabbit hole all day with that, but a lot of times is because we're not educating our own kids in the things that we need and the things that's socially gonna be better for us as a people. So I think if you send your child to all white school, nothing but white teachers and things like that, culturally we're different people. And so I think a lot of our kids don't like school because that's who child can go down a whole rabbit hole. I ain't gonna do it right now. I'm gonna let it play. Hold on.
A creative person. But that's creativity, and even that they find creative ways to do their job that makes them good at it. And there's a total of like 16 different intelligences, and we're carving it out. We're carving out education into this one way of being intelligent. And the truth of the matter is it's very repetitive and remedial.
Yeah.
What is your ability to memorize and then regurgitate information? There's no creativity in it. But a rebel will become revolutionary with education. But it's got to be the right education. And I feel like this is systemic. Again, poverty will ignite the fire of that hustle in you, right? But you really do have to. One thing I'll say about myself and why I never I'll talk about being in the street, but I never consider myself a street nigga because I ain't really never cared about that money shit. All I wanted to do was create and have community in a space of like shared values. You know,
I got you.
Like money was just like, it's kind of byproduct. Like I need that shit, but like, fuck about no money for real. You know, the older you get, when you get more responsibility, it becomes a little bit more in your forefront. When I was young, I was like, fuck about this money. Like that's why I'm blowing this shit. I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
Also too, but you also like have to understand circumstantially, all these niggas is getting money. If I'm gonna be kicking with it, I gotta get some money too.
Gotta get some money.
You don't want to be broke around
Right.
some niggas getting money because they're gonna treat you foul. You're gonna get treated foul. But to tie it back, right? We have to understand, and we have to shift our perspective on how we correlate masculinity with violence. Masculinity knows there's a time and a place for everything. Time and a place. Your ability to carry out violence or to support those who do does not make you more of a man. You actually start sounding like a bitch. Free Tory, you sound like a bitch. Free Diddy, you sound like a bitch. It's weird. We're not playing for teams here. This idea that there's a team to play for.
I won't say you sound like a bitch. I would say that when it comes down to cheering for people, we as a society in its totality, a lot of us cheer for the wrong thing. And then when it comes down to villains, everybody likes a good villain. They've made the villain a likable motherfucker. They've made the villain very likable. And like I said, when we see that other sides' villains are being upheld and still get to keep their social status, this, that, and the third, it becomes about the equality first of things happening versus what the people have done, but the equality of it. And I think that's a problem that also needs to be addressed.
I'm not playing for the man team. I'm playing for the black team. Whether it be man, woman, trans, disabled, any of it. That's the team. Y'all look at the team as man versus women. If that's your idea, I'm a root for niggas regardless, no matter what they did, you're gonna start to sound like a bitch. Because now you're supporting people who are harming people. You can't tell me you care about the black community, and then when black women are harmed, you feel like you have to choose a side. No. Man, woman, child. You're going to be held accountable to your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you support abusers, you either support them out of guilt or aspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You either know that you're an abuser yourself, and that's the team that you're really supporting, or you have some deep, dark desire to aspire to being an abuser. You fantasized about it, and you respect the man that carried it out.
I think that there's something born out of people that get to wield power like that. The problem is that power is still attractive no matter how it's gotten. And like I said, I brought up Charles Manson, for example, but even with Donald Trump, Donald Trump was grabbing bitches by the pussy and discriminating and shit, had all kind of lawsuits and shit that he lost against him. But people will overlook a lot of shit if you can get things done on the opposite side, quote unquote. So let's say that black lady that he pardoned, right? He pardoned this black lady. She is gonna be the one that pardons people and shit now, right? I think they called her a pardon czar. I forgot what they called her, but it'll be like he'll do something like that. Or I'll give you a good example. Let's say this motherfucker hand out $5,000 stimulus checks, or when he was handing out them stimulus checks, and everybody say, well, that was Biden, but Trump wanted his name on it. And then everybody was like, oh, we love Trump. We love Trump. We love Trump. Well, I had more money when Trump was in office. Da, 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 da. And I'm definitely not speaking up for the Biden administration at all. But when we see people do fucked up shit and then they turn around and do some good shit, the problem is we don't relegate them to one side or the other, because we've been able to quote unquote see them do decent things on both sides. And I think that's a lot of problem with society. We don't place people in the bad box when we've seen them do some fucked up shit, just like Diddy. We've seen Diddy do some fucked up shit, and all of this shit just came about now. And I don't think Diddy there was a girl that interviewed on Tasha K over, I think maybe a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, where a girl named Gina did an interview on Tasha K talking about how Diddy kicked her in her stomach, did all kinds of shit. Do you think media had anything to say about that shit? They walked over that shit like it was a bum on the street. Like we didn't give a fuck at all. And we didn't. When you have the powers that be that's in charge of a lot of stuff, when they want your ass to go down, you'll go down. If they don't want your ass to go down, they'll save you. And I think that's a lot of the problem. But when we see people in power, a lot of times people ain't mad until they told to be mad in the first fucking place. That's a whole nother story. We don't really be giving a fuck about that shit until somebody like, oh, now it's time to get mad. And then here comes the mob.
And it's odd. It's an odd behavior. It's an inability to see the humanity in our women. That's the weird part. I don't get hung up when black women talk shit about black men. I don't get hung up on it because I talk shit about white people for the same reason. History of violence, history of degradation, history of utilizing privileges against me and then playing the victim when I call it out. History. My critical thinking, the need to protect myself and preserve my life. If I know enough, I got to do enough. I don't have no reason to trust white people, nor like them. And if we look at the history, they don't have a reason to trust black men or men in general, or like us. It's a lot of grace being given. When you think about how unprotected they were, even as babies. How many girls went to their parents with these stories and they protected their abuser? How many of us right now are in the family and we know who the abusers are and they're still being protected?
Child, and black women are the white women of that shit, right? You have to be able to talk about it though, bro. And the problem is he won't talk about the whole thing. He'll say from one side, there's another story to tell about that though. Shout out to Uncle Stu. Oh man, on the blog. What's up, Uncle Stu? Thank you so much for the super chat. And shout out to Queen Sunkiss. Thank you so much, girl. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody in the building. Y'all coming to rock with your girl today. I love it. Thank you. Let's see.
I understand that even in this society where young boys get taken advantage of, if we get it taken advantage of by a woman, we wear it like a badge of honor amongst our friends until we get older and a woman tells you, no, nigga, you were molested.
Yeah.
You were raped. And you're like, oh shit, that's why I'm weird about sex. That's why I'm a little hypersexual or sexually regressive. And it does, and the door does swing from one to the other. As somebody who had experiences with that, I used to be like, yeah, I lost my virginity when I was 8.
Didn't I tell y'all at the beginning of this podcast that he was one of the ones that got taken advantage of? Didn't I tell y'all that? Didn't I tell y'all he was one of the ones? Child, call me Dion. Don't call me Daniel. Call me Dion, goddammit. I'm a psychic friend, child. Call me one of your psychic friends, honey.
Don't think you did.
Nah.
The final frontier for us in this community, we have a host of issues. But our biggest issue is this perceived gender war because it divides us in half. It literally splits us right down the middle. Black men, the qualities that you have that will make you a success in the street, a success in athletics, will also make you a success in education. But we have to get it quick. And I get it. Women ain't gonna fuck with us if we don't got the money. If you put the phone down, all your information, first of all, let's just be honest about this. All of the information you're receiving from the world via the internet is being pushed to you through an algorithm, not the natural path of things. Your mentality.
He has an excellent point. there when it comes down to what the algorithm is pushing to you. And even when it came down to the sectors and stuff like that, right? So I was looking at the beef sector. They have a sector called the Mo3 sector and shit like that. And so I'm looking at it and I'm kind of taking inventory on who's in what sector and what's being pushed to, whoever. I would never receive a lot of like, how shit shows up on like your For You page. The stuff that would be pushed to me would be a lot of things toward manosphere algorithm, divested algorithm, some of that stuff, exotical stuff like that, relationships, dating and shit like that. A little bit of pro-black. But like the Mo3 sector, I have to give y'all a good example. I would just remember when I came across like the beef sector, the Mo3 sector, and I saw how many people they would have in the chats and shit. They got like 500 people, thousands of subscribers. I'm sitting there looking, and when I say I was the most puzzled, but I know this shit is not being pushed to me, but I'm like, who are they pushing these things to? And so it tends to be more oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's done purposefully to push things to certain sectors. And that is weird as fuck. Shout out to Soul. He said loaded chats. I actually think that. I've been looking at that and I'm like, how the hell they got all these people? Where did all these people come from? And how did they get into this one subsection? But just like us, I'll give y'all an even better example. So you had Manosphere 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. You got the DJ Hams and Fatties and all these people in that sector. It's like a whole new sector of people. And I'm always kind of curious, is like, damn, where do these people come from? You know what I'm saying? And then when their chats are already loaded and ready to go and shit, I'm always like, how does that work? How does that work? So it's interesting. And I don't think it's all organic. I don't think it's all organic. I think it's I think it's some I definitely think it's some shit behind it. I definitely do.
It's not the same mentality as mine because I got my experience in the world with actual people. So I know the shit that you're saying just isn't true. And if a girl your age is trying to tell you to get money and do all these things, she's receiving the same information as you. You're both being lied to. And you're both believing in the lie. And the lie is being reinforced by the music, and the lie is being reinforced by the algorithm. This phenomenon of women only seeking men for money is a very new concept. My parents was married. My dad was broke. First of all, what's up with this black community that we've had to overcome all this financial poverty, but we only will get with men if they got money? That doesn't make sense, nigga. How were you born? If we've always been financially in this country in last place, but our women will only fuck with niggas who got money, how are any of us here? How? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Yes, of course, the drug dealer that goes out and gets the fast money, yeah, he's gonna have a lot of women available to him. He may have a lot of babies. That's not common. That's not the story. It's just a story they amplify. Because they want you to aspire to degeneracy. And now you're seeking equity in degeneracy. You gotta get your mind right, man. All this shit is systemic. The algorithm is being pushed to you to push an agenda. Because the second that you start hating women and you start getting into that red pill content, all the white red pill niggas are also racist. You think that's a mistake? They're trying to push you into conservatism.
Oh God. Oh, shout out to my man. Hey, babe. Hey, daddy. He says, shout out to Mr. Curlin. He says he conflates a lot and mixes and matches to attempt a point. Disliking behavior of some versus disliking women as a whole, it's not the same. Same with lack of confidence in men and arrogance in women. See, this is why I married that. Oh, no. Let me bring it down a notch. But shout out to you. Thank you so much, babe. And child, what the hell? My damn super chat said, okay. Shout out to the voice of Venus. Thank you so much, beautiful. She says, I think the reason I even saw you on my timeline today is because I've been cleaning up my algorithm and subscribing from so many channels. You're speaking facts. Oh, thank you so much, Venus. I really, really, really appreciate the super chat, girl. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody in the building. Thank y'all. And yay! We reached our goal of 10 super chats today. So thank you so much to everybody who supported. I really appreciate it. Let's get back to it.
Because the more conservative you are, the more likely you are to fall for religious dogma and to follow orders blindly. And then you might as well just go ahead and call yourself MAGA.
I still think that there can be two extremes. It ain't about just MAGA following shit blindly. I want y'all to think when the LGBTQ plus agenda was thrown onto the Democratic Party, right? I remember back in the 80s, because this is when I first noticed it. I remember, Black people, my family were mostly Democrats, but I would say that my family generally held very conservative values. Then it was like, oh, well, the LGBTQ plus they come over here on the Democratic side, and this is what the Democrats believe in totality, and we believe in all the points of the democratic society. This is what you believe. If you are over here, if you're on the right, this is what you believe. You believe in Christianity, and you believe in family, and you believe in togetherness, but you kind of believe in staying in your own whatever, your own bubble. And I remember noticing that and thinking, like, I don't agree with either side all the way. And I'm like, if you agree with one side or the other all the way, I really feel like there's something wrong with you. If you're on the extreme of either side, I definitely think there's something wrong with you. But then his messaging, I don't think there's anything wrong with telling your daughters not to show their ass to any and everybody who want to see it. I don't think there's anything wrong with telling your kids to get their education and to be smart and to have some value. On the left-hand side, I do feel like people should be able to live their lives as adults. I don't give a fuck who you marry. If you're a man and you want to marry another man, that's your fucking business. I feel like leave the kids out of it. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that, because that's your business when you become an adult. When it comes down to the push of Black women and how it's like Black women and Black men are probably the most divided politically. And I don't think that the Democratic Party has served us in any way. I really don't feel like they've served us. I don't feel like either party has served us, truth be told. But the party that we have done the most for hasn't done shit for us in its totality. And so when it comes down to the values, though, I don't buy into either one. I don't buy into either one in its totality because it's bullshit. It was a lady yesterday, and this lady was saying that she homeschooled. She fed her kids organic meals. She breastfed. She said back in the 80s, she was considered far left. She said she was considered a radical. She said nowadays she's actually considered to be on the right side. She's considered to be right-leaning, and it's just about who's pushing what agenda at what given time. for shit to flip on his head. I remember that black people were the more conservative out of every group. Out of all the groups, we used to be the most conservative. Do y'all remember that? I remember when we were the most conservative. We was the group that didn't. Y'all remember when black women didn't suck dick? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? We ain't sucked dick. Y'all remember that? Look at child. I ain't gonna go. I ain't going. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's super interesting how shit is flipped over his head, and it ain't about one side or the other. It's about what the fuck they want to push at any given moment. So, yeah. Sorry for the cursing, y'all. I'm gonna try to tone it down a little bit.
You don't question authority. You exalt people just because they have money. You think because they have money that they're more intelligent than you. Money does not equate to intelligence. A bad experience with a couple women did not equate to all women being bad. And also, it takes two to tango. It's not like all these people that talk about their past hurts and their past relationships act like they weren't in the relationships too. Like they had nothing to do with it. Like they just walked in, like they were lambs led to slaughter.
Yeah.
No, nigga. No, you played a role in it too. I got to get cheated on one time, will vow to cheat on women for the rest of his life to protect that from ever happening to him again, but won't discuss the fact that you're breaking women in the process. And the same thing goes for women. Nigga cheated on you one time, broke your heart. Now you're going to cheat on every nigga and you're breaking men in the process. And another person's action is not a reflection of you all the time. Sometimes you're just a fucked up bad person. Sometimes you just got used and taken advantage of. And the reality is anytime I've been used and taken advantage of, there were signs. Period. Nobody had the wool pulled over my eyes. I didn't want to believe it because
he said a word then. Period.
I was enjoying myself. Start being a little delusional. Get a little of that Delulu in your system. That's the real Lulu. Y'all talking about Lululemon? No, the real Lulu is the delusion. That delusion. That's the real Lulu. And we've all been there, but you have to grow up. You can't paint a picture for, bro, we talking about what, millions of women? Millions. They're all the same? Come on, cuz. You hardly got anything in common with your best friend. And you think all women the same? Some of the niggas you hanging out with all the time, you as a man, you only got one interest in common. And you think all women the same? You ain't even the same as the niggas you kick it with. So men are only men are diverse. When you really start breaking down your mentality, it doesn't make sense. And at some point, you got to admit that you've gotten duped. You got red pilled. And the thing that you look at as logical is a fallacy. We'll be right back at this commercial break. We back. Now, this is not a break you down to build you up type situation, but it may come across like that. I feel like there's a responsibility on our behalf to not only call people out and help them and to make people accountable, but to also like be logical and be helpful where we can, right? There's a personal responsibility that you have to be sexually desirable, right? Personal hygiene. I think one thing about the red.
Okay, we getting somewhere. Let's see what he's talking about, y'all. Okay.
Pill thing that they do is they give men actionable things, right? So going to the gym, making more money. These are things that you work towards, but it's not a complete growth mindset. It's a controlled growth.
Right.
You control these physical things, but you keep your mind weak and you keep your mind susceptible to hate. And there's nothing wrong with being softer. There's nothing wrong with being empathetic and kind and doing kind things. You know what I'm saying? Naturally, I'll go out my way to make sure a woman doesn't need anything. You know what I'm saying? I see her with a whole bunch of groceries. Do you need help putting them in the road? If you come in, I'll hold the door open. And you don't have to be, and even if she say thank you or not, 9 out of 10, 99.9% of the time, they do say thank you. But when they don't, whatever. Because the kindness is an extension of yourself. It's not to receive. It's an extension of who you are. How you treat one situation is how you treat them all. So if you're kind in small situations, you'll be kind in big situations. If you're empathetic in small situations, you'll be empathetic in big situations. Character has everything to do with you. Okay? So working on your character is not so, it's like if I was to give away money, but I'm filming it, right? You're doing it for the optics. And if you're doing it for the optics, then that's not really what your character is.
I wholeheartedly agree. With that. I hate to see a motherfucker got somebody going through the worst shit of their life and you throwing a fucking camera in their face to show how you giving. Now, people say that it tends to inspire others, but still, I would be like, if you was going through the worst shit that you've ever gone through in your lifetime, would you want somebody to throw a camera on you, or what? I was like, I don't like that. I personally, I can't stand that. That's a pet peeve of mine. That's disgusting.
And you have to work on your character. So yes, going to the gym will probably significantly make you more sexually desirable, but your mentality may be still fucked up. You have to work on your mentality. Personal hygiene is a big thing. Keeping yourself groomed, not wearing like ill-fitting clothes or old clothes, like all of these things, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, the first attraction is physical. That's the very first attraction.
That's true.
That's what makes you desire a woman sexually, is the physical attraction. You don't know anything about her mind. You don't know how she grew up. She could be a terrible person. Just like you could be attractive on the onset and be a terrible guy. There's a personal responsibility that you have to take. And I understand that there's a loneliness that comes with these things. These men, they talk about the male loneliness epidemic and things like that. The loneliness will drive you to blame others so you don't take accountability. And I'm a big proponent of local fame. Visit the same places. Go to these, find, like, you know, if you.
I think he has a good point with that. I do think me and Curlin talk about people getting kind of stuck in like a drain of this kind of content. You consume and all you do is consume this kind of content. I feel like it's kind of easy for you to get stuck there. And if you ain't doing the shit outside of this, now I think you can look at some stuff online, be able to call it out, be able to say, okay, yeah, this is fucked up, that's fucked up. But if this is the only thing that you're consuming and the only mindset that you're able to seek out, or minds that you're able to seek out, yeah, you're gonna get stuck right here in this loop. And like I said, I don't think things are as bad on the outside as they're perpetuated online, but we're becoming less and less social. Shout out to a TD Tellum. He says, no, but I remember Black women lying about them not giving dome action. TD, I thought we said we was gonna keep that part a secret. Don't be over here telling our goddamn business. What the hell wrong with you? Shh. Go on now. Okay. Let's play.
If you drink coffee or tea, whatever, find places where you can go to 2 or 3 times out the week to the point where you're a regular. You know these people on a first name basis. If you've seen somewhere and imagine there's another regular there, eventually y'all are going to talk because y'all share a space together. And the familiarity breeds curiosity. I'm gonna want to know more about this person. Same way you made friends in school, proximity. You have to put yourself in proximity to people. I understand that we talk a lot about third spaces. Do you have a library card? Do you go to Barnes and Nobles? Find places where it's not, and there's not a super expensive reason to be there, right? Find you a third space that's tailored to your interests so that you could be amongst other people that share those interests with you, but also take on their personal responsibility. You can't help your genetics, right? Some people are surviving off genetics and you can't even get plastic surgery to cover up. And plastic surgery ain't going to enhance your genetics. What it's going to do is throw off your facial symmetry, and you're going to be trying to get it back, and you can't get God's symmetry back. Once you go under the knife, you completely have taken God out of the picture. Whatever your idea of that is, you've taken the nature, you've taken the natural state and the genetics out of the picture, and now you're seeking something artificial. Cosmetic plastic surgery makes sense to me when people lose a lot of weight and they have extra skin. Perfectly makes sense. Don't fuck with your face. Your nose is fine. I just seen a girl get. Man, we ain't learned nothing.
Chop the nose off?
Now her shit look.
It's pointed up?
Yeah, she looks nuts.
Yeah. It's like a who?
She looks like a who. People was in the comments asking her where she was on Christmas.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it gets nasty on that internet. There's a personal responsibility that comes along with this thing. You know, people are not, you're not entitled to anybody's attention or their time. And when you take your time and attention personally, and you're guarded with your time and attention, it actually makes your time and attention more valuable. So yeah, go to the gym, but also invest in a nice cologne. You know what I'm saying? When you go out, if you embrace a woman and she get that scent on her, hey man, that's a life changer.
That's a talking piece too.
It's a talking piece.
What you got on?
Yeah, you smell so good.
There you go.
You in the dough. You done broke the ice. Now you can relax. You relax your shoulders.
But also that comes from the knowledge of a woman to teach you that.
Yeah.
Because my dad didn't teach me that.
No.
Okay. So he's definitely saying all of these things, but now I have a group of friends that I talk to, and we've had these conversations quite a few times, and they like, well, sometimes a nigga could do all that shit and that shit still does not matter. If a bitch think that you corny, she think you corny. If she think you lame, you ain't gonna be able to unlame yourself. What do y'all think about that? And I've heard, like a guy could try to do all these things and make all these changes, but when it comes down to women that they're actually attracted to, they are still not able to get the attractive women that they want, even when they've made these changes. And they bring up a point when it comes down to talking to, like, okay, y'all remember when Shaq was trying to holler at the Home Depot girl and saying that you have dudes with money, big money, trying to get with girls that are supposedly like extra regular. And not to say that the Home Depot girl was an extra regular girl. She's quite attractive. But the point being made was that if you got guys like a Shaq having to holler at regular schmegular chicks, what does that do for the dating pool, even when you've made the improvements and you've done everything that you were supposed to do, and you still have problems with finding quality women? What do y'all think about that?
My mom taught me that.
Also, too, just learn. Observation is everything, bro. You have to be observant. I be picking a lot of things. I pick up on through pure observation.
Mm-hmm.
Even online, you just see a woman smell a man that smell good. Shit. All right, maybe I need to smell good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to figure out what works for me. What scent works for you?
Yeah.
But the entitlement and the lack of accountability is I don't get women, so I'm going to blame women for that.
Yeah.
That's an entitlement. And that's also a huge lack of accountability, because are you well put together? Damn, can you give them something to be attracted to? Because men who make it a focal point to have great personal hygiene, find out their sense of fashion and their style, they don't complain about women.
Listen,
it's the real thing.
Let me tell you something. I work outside in the airport. It get hot, and I be outside, but I have good hygiene. So my clothes are washed, and I wash my ass.
Yeah.
So when I come back into the building from being outside, come back to base, all the women in this bitch be like, have you been working? I just take good hygiene. And they be like, yeah, you for a big dude, you got good hygiene, bro.
You take care of yourself, bro. It's important, bro.
It's important.
It's one of the more important things. It's called personal hygiene.
Yeah.
A lot of you niggas ain't taking it personal.
Gotta take it personal.
You gotta take it personal.
My mom said you rather be known as the ugly nigga than the nigga that stink.
That's some smut that's gonna be on your. If you the funky dude,
yeah,
oof,
yeah,
oof. Once that shit get in your pores, it's over.
Once it get in your pores,
I mean that funk coming about you.
Yeah,
yeah, it's internal.
Yeah.
You got internal funk. You don't want to be that guy. So we talked about this earlier about Twitter being like a hotbed for racism, a racial war more than anything. It's not really even a discussion that's happening there. I want the Black community to start looking at ourselves as a bank. Okay, let's think about that. You're a bank. If you are in the Black community, you are a part of this bank. White people, the police, and the U.S. government all have extremely low credit scores with our society, and we continue to lend out these low interest loans. Perspective. Shift your perspective. These people have such a low, terrible credit score. They shouldn't even be walking into your bank. They should not be getting approved for any loans. I don't even want you to have a checking and savings account here. Take your money. Your money's no good here, right? And we keep lending out these low interest loans to people with a terrible credit history. Terrible credit history. We talking about that shit in the 100s. Damn. They need 400 points to have bad credit.
Yeah.
And they continue to default on these loans every time we lend them out. White people are gingers are black. Gave them a low interest loan. And what the gingers do? Because it only take one. Dad's finna go out for some milk. Let me go get a Hellcat and a Charger. Hey kids, I'm going out for milk.
Yeah, that was The gingers are black was a funny thing to me too. I was like, bro, we'll let anybody in the club, but that's black people. That's our culture. We gonna let everybody in. We love everybody, and everybody does not love us. Ah, shit. Shout out to Danica Marie, girl. Hey, girl. She said, hey, glad that you are back. Just stopping through. Thank you so much, lady. I really, really appreciate the super chat. Yes. Thank you, girl. Let's see.
Racist rhetoric.
Mhm.
They're never not going to take an opportunity to slap you in the face. But what we do, keep lending these low interest loans out to this community that has terrible credit. White people, U.S. government, police, terrible credit. People of color working their hardest to get low credit with us. Working their hardest, working hard. White people got terrible credit with everybody, but these people of color, Asians, these Indians, these Hispanics, they actually will turn over the whole bank to the whites. They ain't even lending out. They just here, you can have our bank. Black people, if we are the bank, we are a bank. Our community is a bank. Stop lending. We don't do loans anymore. We're done loaning. Okay, we have to loan to our people internally right now. And every time we loan to ourselves, we charge a high interest rate, don't we?
That's a fact.
Don't we make it life or death?
Yeah.
We only give our people one shot. We continue to lend out these low interest loans to these other communities that have shown us time and time again they're not going to pay it back.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think that we give black people a lot of chance if they empower. I absolutely think we do give them a lot of chances if they empower. We could hear the worst shit about a person and turn, oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that. What? That happened? What? I didn't even see that. Shit. We know what the fuck. We give each other a lot of credit. The doughboy gets more credit than any motherfucker on the face of the planet. A black dope boy, he get credit for fucking young bitches. He get credit for fucking over his community. He get a lot of credit. He can do all kinds of shit. He can kill motherfuckers. He can take over whole communities, and what we do, we glorify it. Fuck out of here, bro. Nah, he get a lot of credit. We give certain people a lot of credit. We do. We absolutely do.
They have low credit scores, terrible credit scores, horrible credit scores, irreparable credit scores, and we keep lending. It's time to close down the bank. Because this constant need to respond to racist people online is a sign that you are still seeking validation from your enemy. I don't got time to argue with Nick. Like, hold on. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, what are we arguing on the internet? We're not going to get anywhere. I'm not offended by somebody who takes pride in ignorance. Never be offended by somebody that takes pride in ignorance. And you're trying to educate that. You're trying to civilize a savage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like, if I can only present them with the information. No, they take pride in the ignorance. They don't want the information. And this constant need to respond to racism online, to try to educate your enemy. That just means you're seeking validation. Imploring empathy to your enemy constantly. That's a sign of Stockholm syndrome. It just is what it is. If you want to be a revolutionary, if you want to be rebellious to that society, if you want growth in your community, you're going to have to unlearn subordination. That was one of the biggest things I used to get in trouble for in school. Insubordination. I'm an insubordinate person. And we can tie that back to the ridding of the rebel. They don't rid of the rebel, and now we left with all these docile people, these extremely subordinate people. Then you get your black ass wake up call, but you still got that Stockholm syndrome in you. You still got that subordination in you. No, hold your head up high and shut down the bank. The bank is now only working on an internal process. I only lean to black people.
As far as the rebellion is concerned, I don't think that he has that all right. I think the problem is there's been too much rebellion in the wrong direction. We haven't rebelled against the right things. We done rebelled against clothing. Women have rebelled against being the opposite of a hoe. I don't know what that is. We've rebelled against shit like that we've totally rebelled against shit like that. As far as women are concerned, when it comes down to men haven't rebelled against violence. They are just not. I'm not gonna say not violent toward the right people, but if we doing it to each other and everybody else is doing it, well, child, I ain't gonna get into it. But I think that that's a very, I don't know, that's a very interesting point. Like, when I think of rebellion, I do think that we're a more docile people. I think we are absolutely terrified of the shit that's coming down the pipeline. So we ain't marching, we ain't doing this, we ain't getting out in the middle of the street. Nobody wants to go to jail. Everybody's scared to fight to a certain degree, unless it's some shit with each other. And I do think that he has a point there, but it's not the fact that we are scared to rebel. It's just who and what we're rebelling against is a huge problem. And I don't think all order is wrong, or things being organized or contained. I don't think all of that is wrong. It's a time and a place for everything. I think we probably too much on one side though.
And I don't charge no interest. That's our problem. We've been charging high interest rates to people in our own community, low to no interest for other communities, because you're imploring empathy to your enemy. That's Stockholm syndrome. You're still seeking validation from your enemy. You're still subordinate to your enemy. They're an enemy. If I was, if I was a white person, I would love the black community. Boy, they can unlimited chances.
They love us.
They love us. They love us too much.
Yeah.
They'll never turn their back on us. Black women be perpetuating a lot of this bullshit too. Y'all, I be seeing y'all be sending out, as soon as a white person have a little rhythm, y'all be sending out cookout invites too. We be seeing you.
I think black women send the most cookout invites.
I think they do.
I think black women do.
Go ahead, child. Y'all ready to goddamn boost some shit up.
Yeah.
Y'all need to stop boosting motherfuckers. I know it's innate. Every time somebody talk about black women, what do they talk about? Their ability to hype them up. So you're still being in service. You're still serving them. Oh, if a black woman call me baby, I just be And these are things that come natural to you. But even the things that come natural to you, the empathy, the kindness, the love, they take advantage of it for self. They never talk about your strength. They never talk about your wisdom. The fact that your spirit can't be broken, black woman. They never talk about that. They only talk about your ability to make them feel good about themselves. Low credit score. Low interest loans. We still lending them out. And every time you lend them out, they default on them. They don't never pay it back. Stop lending. Let's talk about Adriana Smith. Have you heard about this story?
No, what happened?
So, y'all, I am going to stop it right there. I've given you guys a 2.5 hours, child, on a Friday at that. Oh, what child? Shout out to everybody who came through. I think this was a good podcast. If you guys would like to watch, this is the Grits and Eggs podcast. If y'all want to finish up that live stream, the beginning of the live stream is something that I really wanted to touch on, and kind of give my thoughts about it. But yeah, shout out to everybody who came through. Really super duper appreciate it to everybody who supported. Much appreciation to you guys. Hit the like button. I got something special coming up for y'all very, very soon. Keep your eyes open and your ears listening. I hate when I be trying to close out and be at a loss for words and shit, because I be tired and shit after like 30 minutes. But keep your ear to the street, child. Y'all know. I'll be pulling something out of my pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Just every now and then, child. I don't want y'all to forget how magical I am. But anywho, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Send us a happy anniversary. Again, shout out to my Osborne. Happy anniversary, daddy. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Have a great weekend. I'm out.